So I want to play a little game and try to explain how the density game works and um, how some other parts of the game works. So, the first choice that you make in a game is to find a good place to start. And a strategy that I used recently I used it in Concord, which is the one that I talked about on the blog. It's at 65, probably more like 700,000 people now, and I'm trying to get it to a million. Um, and what I did in Concord was I put the main part of the city on one side of a channel, and then some industry on the other side. And I chose a channel that I could bridge twice. And so that's what I'm looking at here. I don't know why I'm still in the planner mode, but hey, why not? Let's see. Let me just design a new design real fast. So I wanted to do a particular design that really favored. Let me go ahead and commit this. That really favored having one main road and then branching off of it. And basically, the reason why is because that's how to get density. So the game looks for a few things in order to assign density. And one of them is how many cars are going by. Another is are there certain types of buildings or certain types of economic events? So every time that someone buys something, which means retail, or mixed use, which we're gonna get into. Okay, so the big thing that's different in version 49 is I divided up the zones. So now there's 6 zones. People were asking for more choice over the zones. This, I've been playing with it, and it is kind of interesting and fun, actually. So I think that this is definitely something we're going to move forward with. It's a great idea somebody had. I got a few things that I need to achieve. I'm trying to get mixed use working. And so mixed use is a feature that we're introducing in version 49. Up until now, every building could, contain multiple different types of businesses, families. So, mixed use did exist in a sense, but I'm making it an official zone, apartments above shops, which is, I think, what people usually mean when they talk about mixed use. But I'll actually build this because I want you guys to see it. It will not build in the beginning of the game. It'll just sit there. At least it's supposed to. So you need 2 things. You need density and value in order to get it to develop. Now, value, we have some value coming from the coastline. So we could try to build mixed use like right here. Oh, we're going to have to rebuild this one. Might as well get this started before we start getting cars and stuff. Let's actually build it this way. See, like that. I'm going to build 2 one-ways leading off from this intersection because this intersection is going to get really congested. And then maybe leading back in like that. This might be an interesting design though. So I'm going to hold on to this design and see how the mixed use does. Now, these colors definitely aren't distinct enough. You know, if you have even slight color blindness, I'm sure. I mean, they're darker, but. And they do have the icon. What should I call this? Moo neighborhood. Because it has mixed use for Moo. I'll save that. Bum bum. This is another little thing that happens that, you know, it's a bug that I need to fix, but in the meantime, when you get these, if you get like a lot of them from a blueprint, you can easily delete all of them just by opening up planner mode, saying discard all, and closing planner mode. Okay, so it's been paused up until now. The other thing I'm going to try to do here, although I don't think it will develop until we get the education, maybe a little bit, but we'll see, is a factory zone. And I'm going to put it right coming off the bridge. The reason why is because, actually, what if we made that? Residential. Or the retail, I mean. So, the basic strategy in the early game is thinking about where you put which zones. So, these mixed use will not develop. So, I'm actually going to put this retail here. The traffic is going to flow through this major street, and the traffic drive is one of the major drivers of density. That's why the game tells you to put the retail next to a major road. So this line here where I have the retail and the mixed use, that's going to be our highest density. And then I'm putting the industrial and the farms on the other side of the channel because of the pollution, basically. But that will put a lot of strain on this bridge, and it might become an expressway relatively quickly if that's a persistent problem. So, and then the other thing I'm doing is I'm putting this little bit of retail here. And the retail will drive density. I'm just using that to kickstart the industrial. And once the industrial is kickstarted, I won't need it anymore. I won't remove it, but I won't need it anymore. All right, let's see how this works. So let's go a little bit further, faster speed. So we're getting a little bit of retail. Now, for the first 1,000 persons, the growth model is fixed, so it's just like some retail and residential and farmland. So the factories won't develop. Once we get to 1,000, then the actual zoning model kicks in. But just for the first 1,000, because with less than 1,000 people, it's easy for the simulation to get locked into a situation where nothing can develop. So just to prevent that from happening, it has a fixed growth model. Excuse me while I That sound is a space heater. So I'm just waiting for the things to grow. Alright, now we got 1,000. So now we get the real growth model. And so the first thing it notices is I don't have any factories and I don't have any offices. And it does want those offices. In fact, now we probably won't get this many offices. So let's actually move one side of it back to mixed use. And you'll literally get like 2 to 3 offices in the early game. It's not a lot. You really need education in order to get any more. And see, we're not even getting the... See, we need like basically tier 1 density in order to get the factories to spawn at all. So we kind of have to wait till we get village probably for that to happen. Alright. In the meantime, we can add a little bit more space for people to live. Now, this section here might actually end up being a traffic problem, just because there's so many stop signs in a row. Actually, stop lights, it looks like. So another thing that I want to get, I said that there was a few different things that I was trying to achieve. So another thing that I'm trying to achieve is getting a supermarket in this retail. So the supermarket gives me the small park. And the small park, you know, is the only way to deal with pollution in the early game. So I kind of need it in order to get the value. Alright, now we can get education. Oh, I need some more money. Now one thing to notice, so the school, it costs 2.5 and so the bank gives you a little bit of money for the assets that you build. So I placed 3 schools, and you know I was at less than 10 million, and now I'm back up to 3 million. So if you add up the asset values of the schools, you know it's almost like I'm making money. But of course it's all debt, so just be aware of that. But it kind of doesn't matter because you're never going to get into a situation where the bank won't give you money. So there isn't really an ability for the city to become insolvent. I mean, you can get overdrawn, but then you just mess with the sliders, maybe sell some things, and you can always get back. Alright, now we're getting some factories. I think I'm going to put road here. Wants more farmland. Looks like we got the police station too. Finally make use of this bridge here. And make this a bunch of farmland. I could put retail here, but I'm kind of, you know, you only get so much of every zone. That's basically kind of the thing. And so you want to be a little bit critical about, you know, what's the best place to put, you know, XYZ. For example, these offices, that's a source of density that maybe I'm underusing. I would definitely say that I'm underusing it. That intersection's a little constrained. That's probably going to have to be redesigned. Now there's been a desire to have this chart visible all the time, and I agree. So we're going to have a widget that you can put up here showing this chart. We're also thinking about maybe just putting it in this bar, like, put a little space between the 3 and the 4, and put this bar chart there. So we'll see. There we go. Now we got the small park. So we got the supermarket. And, by the way, sometimes a supermarket or a mall... see what I said about that intersection. Sometimes a supermarket or a mall can actually kind of destroy a retail area because they suck up all the retail. All the businesses go into the mall, and then all of the buildings close and get abandoned. See, like, now that's probably going to kill our retail demand, which is going to kill our chances of getting any more mixed use until we grow the city some more. But in the meantime, we can, just kind of work the value game and hope that something happens. And parks are cheap, so you should kind of spam them. You see how much they do to cut down on the pollution. So I thought about maybe disabling mixed use before, you're likely to be able to make it develop. Because I can imagine people, saying, why wouldn't I just make everything mixed use? And then spamming it everywhere and not building any residential. And it's like, why is my city not growing? It's like, well, mixed use doesn't develop until density 2. Value 5. That's one of the compromises with mixed use. So let's see how our density is doing. So our density kind of isn't progressing over here. So if we have to make more retail, let's just try to force the density to grow. Now the factories are supposed to provide their own density, but perhaps it's just not enough. Another issue with density is education. The mechanic there is kind of complicated, but there's our crime map. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get the city hall, partially because it gives me this density, which I've been needing, and partially because it'll give me an alternative source of tax revenue. Where should I put it? Here? There we go. See, this mixed use is starting to work. I see the problem with this design now. On reflection, it is not a good design. Let's take a look at where can we use a library. So the library has a community benefit, which is kind of an anti-crime benefit, in addition to its education benefit. So, did the city hall have an anti-crime? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have law. So we're going to have to put a police station here-ish. Now they're hungry for that residential. Alright, I better start building some expansions. Okay. Let's plan on putting a major roadway along here. This is going to have to happen at some point. I'll leave a little gap here. It might become a highway. Might become many things. Then mixed use is starting to fill in. Oh wow, look at that. Ah! Okay, we got the technical college. This is important. So our industry is starting to develop. We probably need more, actually. Let's see, what is our potential here? Alright, cool. So let's go through here and put this industry here. See how nicely that's developed? Come along real well. Now, technical college. Oh, I also have the university because I turned it on at the beginning of the game, which is a little bit of a cheat. It's a cheat that you'll have access to if you want to. I'm gonna put it across the street from the city hall, so we're gonna kind of like double work this area. We're really hardcore working this area. Trying to get that mixed use started. And I suppose, the idea here maybe would be to, why have retail when you can have lots of mixed use? Of course you have to get mixed use working. Now I got this one too early. That's a bug. But we got the community college now. Yeah, it's probably this one that gave it to us. It kind of needs more of everything. We definitely haven't oversaturated these bridges yet, although we might be getting a little bit far. But let's build into this area and build some farmland out here. It's a little frustrating because it's like, I'm thinking, well, maybe I have to expand my industry, but I have to get the density for that. And the easy way to get density is to use retail, but I also want to get this mixed use started. I think that mixed use in the future will probably have its own density benefit on top of the benefit that it gets for people making purchases in the bottom of the building. So we'll see how that progresses. Oh look, this section's starting to develop. Finally. I kind of want to see if I can get it to tier up. 37 minutes. Finally getting some traffic problems. Yeah, they're clumping up around here because this is the only way to get onto this bridge. So I can be smarter about how to get onto the bridge, by configuring these roads in a different way, maybe. Anyways, I'm gonna log off. Good night.